Welcome to SplunkTalk, the only podcast that's all splunk and no junk. I'm your host, not Hal.
I'm not Burch. But I think if we flip the two around, it would work out pretty well.
We're going to flip the two around. Yeah, we'll do that in post. We're here for episode 47 of season 2 that we are calling Finally a Finale.
What does that finale mean, question mark? Finale question mark or period?
To be continued? Ellipses?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, it's everything changes, right? A season of change is upon us, so I thought it would make sense.
Turn.
I didn't have any songs prepared. Yeah, the only songs I can do just like that are basically the Doors and yeah, most of the Doors songs basically. There's other songs, but those are the ones that come up first. Jethro Tull, you know.
Yeah.
Jason Mraz, a couple of his.
Okay. Well, the times they are changing. So Hal and I have spent we started this, I think, in 2019, and it is now 2024. And we've asked ourselves a number of times, we're still in season 2, because season 1 was a different cast and a different time period. And we said, when are we going to make it season 3? Should we just end season 2? And
yeah, I mean, we could do it on the Splunk fiscal. I mean, that doesn't make any sense to other people that don't, you know.
And we said, why don't we let, it'll come to us, right? That's what we kind of figured, like, maybe it'll come to us at some point. And it came to us. So I recently parted ways with Splunk, and that's when we realized, that's when we realized
still sad.
That is probably a good milestone for us.
Yeah. It is certainly one. Yeah.
And then actually, in the time since that happened, and the time that we've been trying to schedule to do this recording, Cisco's acquisition of Splunk actually moved up and happened. And so now we've got the double whammy of good reasons to call it the end of season 2.
So finally a finale.
And so this will also give us an opportunity to reflect back, and that's what we want to do, almost like a clip show. We'll reflect back on all of our fond memories, how we got here, some of our great experiences, and we'll talk about this more at the end, but who knows how we'll do a season 3
from here.
That's why we're not calling it show finale, just season finale.
Yeah. That's good. I mean, it's a lot of fun. I mean, I like podcasting. I like talking with you, Burch, and I'm sure we'll find interesting things to do.
Yeah. Talking with you.
Yeah. Well, I'm interested in seeing what happens to your journey, because our paths are going to diverge. So I'll be able to hear about whatever's next on your plate when you're ready to talk about that. So that'll be interesting. We'll have things to talk about. But
today I do want to focus primarily on celebrating everything we've accomplished, rather than looking forward. Back.
Okay. So we do have. I mean, we've got this big channel here of things.
47
we've done.
episodes. So I would.
Who's that guy? Who's that guy?
So
we can
play some clips here. Why don't we go back to our first episode and just listen to that intro, and you can see the different quality.
I wonder if I share it, is it gonna send the audio?
Yeah, so when you do share, sorry everyone.
If I share with the share button correctly,
click share. Click share again,
and I gotta go advanced. Computer audio.
So this would be a great episode for folks to watch along with us, and you can really take in how much younger we looked back then.
Some of us. So what happens when I click on it? Because this is going to go right at the start. Ooh, wow.
Hey guys, this is SplunkTalk. I'm Hal Rotenberg. That's Burch. We're back, but we look different. I'm not Michael Wild.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's not Hal Rotenberg
April
on the other side of the screen. So
2019.
This is something new and different.
Yeah.
Still SplunkTalk. So
look at that timestamp.
Burch, if you're okay with this plan, that maybe
so almost
each other a little bit,
5 years ago,
each other a little bit, and just see where their discussion.
My and this actually helps to justify a hypothesis I had that my forehead has actually always been that tall. Yeah.
I mean, now, do you remember after this episode, people wrote in and said, "Get Burch actual audio equipment"?
Oh, there you are. I was never talking.
Yeah.
Welcome to.
Yeah, you sounded like you're in, a bathroom.
Yeah,
recording
I'm
on your
earpiece.
Yeah, that was not great.
Yeah.
So, how you feeling?
The audio, anyway.
Friday.
Yeah.
The rest of the show was great.
I can't get over. I looked. I think I was 60 pounds heavier
so many
there.
Fridays.
What, for real?
Now.
Yeah.
This is the.
Huh. Yeah, you had a little bit of chunky cheeks, just a little bit there.
Like next level.
But see, what I do is I have the beard, and I change the lengths of it. It's kind of dynamic, so it masks the weight. I actually I might have been a little heavier there too. I can't tell. I can't tell.
You look so innocent.
But I did.
My authorized companion.
Yeah. So
you
got training wheels on, and I will shepherd you through the process, and I would know that a vulnerability is coming.
How does YouTube make the
show up? Where is it?
I just saw that too. So
where did those come from? That's kind of cool. The channels?
Zoomed in a lot there, but it looks like YouTube.
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
Chapters for us based on what we're talking about.
I'll be darned. I did not know that was a thing.
Yeah. So yeah, that was our first one back, and what was the show before that? Hal, take us back if you don't mind pausing this and
sure.
Take us back to how even before me. Remind us how did this all start?
Well, I mean, we had was just Michael Wild probably first, and with his buddy Maverick or Eric Garner, they were recording a show, and this was something that just like what you and I did. It was a hobby, it was a passion, and they just liked to talk, and basically, they were both they're both in sales engineering at the time. I believe that was that was true throughout. And let's see, Maverick would play guitar, I think on the show sometimes. He played like he created a theme song.
Wow.
Let's see, later Mav left, and then I joined. So it was myself and Michael Wild. And for a handful of episodes, I forget how many we recorded, it was Clint Sharp was with us as well. So we had a trio.
Oh, wow.
And then Michael left, and basically I stopped recording the show. Like I wanted to still do something, but it fell apart then. And I don't know if we probably talked about it before in the show, but like I had been podcasting, from a decade prior or whatever, however long it was, 5 or 10 prior, 5 years or so.
Go
ahead scripting podcast.
Go ahead and stop the share while we talk for a bit, so we can see your beautiful face.
Oh, okay. I could.
Yeah.
How's that?
Good. So
I see. So I was talking over. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
So you had the trio, and were there guests at the time? Was the
not usually? No.
Okay.
No, it was usually just the 2 or the 3 of us.
And what kind of stuff did you talk about?
Splunk? It was we had a few different. Yeah, I mean it was all Splunk related. We did keep it that way. There were various segments, throughout over the years. And sometimes there were. I would say that Michael Wild would bring in top answers posts. So he would read top answers posts. And we tried out different things. Yeah, but I like doing interviews, so that was an easy thing to do, was to just pull in someone and let's go into their story.
No, what a lot of the listeners, a lot of listeners may not know that we commonly have a in interaction with our guests before the show where they'll say, "Oh, we'd love to come on. Can you send me what the questions would be beforehand?" And we
Answers.
say, we don't know what the questions are. We pride ourselves on having a generally improvised show. We've grown a pattern in our process where we have our origin story, our orange story, right?
But there's no
We
script.
Yeah, because I think we've always enjoyed, like, there's one thing you could talk about the tech, but we also love to know about the people and the journey that got them here because everyone's background is so unique and interesting on its own. Um, and so, there was nothing really for them to prepare. Uh,
And
when you
sometimes that made people more confident and sometimes
sometimes
less. Did you
less.
notice that? That was, it's kind of funny. And I, been doing this for a while, so it was like expected to gonna have to smooth that over with people and help them be a little more comfortable.
We had the way we did it was we had a calendar invite that we would clone or copy and send, and in it was in the body of it was like everything that they needed to know. So, the tech stuff that we needed them to know about, and we, told them there, like, just bring yourself, be comfortable. We're going to have a conversation. And, no matter how many
You
times
already know what the topic is, right? It's about
it's you.
So that it hopefully people that set them at ease a little bit.
And people, even when they would see that, they would kind of, you could tell there was a little skepticism. Like, yeah, but, and I think how we also, and this is part of our personalities, we don't want to be in the business of gotcha questions or making anyone feel any uncomfortable or, doing anything that, like we're just always trying to, like, all the conversations we have, we always want it to be supportive. We want them to feel comfortable so we can continue having these rich discussions where we just
But
follow the
some
story.
people have an
Some
assumption, right? They might experience or appreciate interviews where it's something polished with a lot of preparation ahead of time, and maybe they would get some assurance from that and they would feel, oh, okay, I know exactly what they're going to ask me, therefore. But that's something else. That's
not us.
that's not us. It's just
No.
not us.
So what about in the season 1, was other than the segment for answers, kind of like we have a segment for a guest, was there anything prepared?
A little bit. Sometimes we would have show notes. We might share show notes, and there would be, for example, myself or Wild or Clint, depending on whatever it was, we would drop a link, or we would, just a bullet point about something we wanted to talk about, just so that you're not totally surprising the other hosts. But no prep. So similar, in the way that you and I've been doing it. I want to say we did have guests now and then, but it was not that common. We went on the road once or more.
Didn't you go around like the show floor or something once with
we did that at .conf. I've been to .conf, forever, and you had too, and if there was an opportunity to mix, some of these things together, definitely took advantage of that. I remember we went to DockerCon one time. We recorded an episode. We just kind of found a random place that was not too loud and sat down and did some recording, and then
you made yourself
brought
your
in
own
someone.
container.
Yeah, we had a little studio. It was I want to say that was in Seattle or something like that. I don't remember where it was. It was a long time ago.
Speaking of conference, let's talk about a little bit about our own conference experience, because I actually think, and help me remember here, the first time we were able, we submitted SplunkTalk as a .conf talk for many years. And I think what we originally envisioned was like a breakout session, almost like a panel session, a live recording, like you would get at like a Comic-Con.
Yeah, which I've done those before. Those are fun also.
Yeah. And we were fortunate to actually be embraced in richer ways. And was our first one the first remote?
Probably. You're talking about like 2019 or something like that, maybe, because that would have been before COVID, so it was October.
Yeah, well, I don't think we made that one, but
maybe later.
Yeah, you might. This might be an opportunity to pull up the videos again. But I know that. What did we say? We had the pleasure of having Gwen Stefani open for us.
Oh yeah, I do remember that one. That was a good one.
So we were fortunate enough to do we would get to do kind of keynote recaps, and we would get to do like the search party recap. And so during the virtual one, I think that was when we had Gwen Stefani perform, and we got to talk after. And so we joked because obviously she is of higher talent and fame than us and our 12 listeners per episode. We actually have quite more than that, but yeah. And so we joked that she opened for us.
Actually, I'm looking at the tags. I'd forgotten. We did a lot of stuff in Conf 20, and we did multiple recordings. That was actually probably our heaviest investment of time at a remote. That would have been Conf 20, I think.
Yeah.
Kind of went up and down, but I see we have like 6 or 8 videos just from that event. That was fun. Only did that.
And actually,
yeah. You remember this one? Hold on, I'm gonna share this.
Yeah,
one.
let's take a little a watchy do.
Yeah, this is here we go.
Oh, I liked this one. Are you sharing the audio?
I hope so.
Yeah. Welcome to SplunkTalk, a Splunk podcast that is all. Do you see how dark it is there? Junk.
Yeah.
I am your host, Burch.
I'm Hal. I kind of liked it when you introduced
I'm excited. I'm re-excited about this.
All right, let's just take it from the top. We'll start
one more time.
Okay. Welcome to SplunkTalk.
Was he in an actual room, or was that a? Yeah, that was his basement. I
Hal,
think.
and that is my host, Burch.
We messed it up again. That's okay. I love it.
I love that he's just waiting.
Yeah.
He's like, what's going on here?
Everybody's really waiting.
Going to eventually
guess who's on the screen right there.
Everybody.
Everybody's waiting for this. We've had a lot of fun.
They're telling us to stop talking and introduce our guest.
Hey, producers, can we change the setup? There we go.
We had a producer on this one, remember?
Yeah. I appreciate that. So,
and actually,
thank you to our producers.
When we started the show,
I kind of like it.
We had a producer.
So Burch,
yes, I was chatting with him the other day.
Been incredible.
It's going to kill me. The name is not coming up. Well, I've got so many different storylines coming up. Jeremy, thank you.
I did some damage.
Yeah, he randomly chatted me up the other day.
Yeah, I think he maybe even was in a couple episodes at the beginning.
Yeah, exciting as any. I guess,
until he got pulled into other job responsibilities. But he said, I don't know that we could have started this without him.
Let's get to our
that was cool.
Guest.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
About his hair.
The intro to hair.
No doubt. Shelley Kornblum, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Woo!
It's great to be here.
Again.
Everyone's applauding at home right now.
I'm applauding.
Maybe.
So
I'm applauding again.
Your title is your full title is the VP for Marketing, Special Ops, and Catering.
I'm just going to skip.
Well, I didn't actually start college. I dropped out of the concept of college.
Okay.
I didn't actually get in.
Ah, man.
That was a fun one.
He was a cool guy. I appreciated. Oops. Okay.
Yeah, another fond memory I have is you might be able to find it there on the videos. The first conf we did in person. So this would have been 2022.
Okay.
Or 2021.
I mean, I see there are. 21. Good morning, Conf 21. Yeah, I see that one.
Yeah, let's take a look at that, and then just for a second, and I will ask you if you can tell what the significance of that episode is.
Okay. I wonder if I could make it bigger. Theater mode. That's the one I wanted. There we go. So if I hit, yes. So this one I think was the in-person one, because 2020 definitely wasn't.
2020 wasn't. 2021 might. I think we did 2 virtual. Yeah, move forward there. No, that's at home.
You're right. You're right. Okay. Okay. Well, I screwed that one up then. So
No,
you tell
that's
me,
okay.
man.
So the next year, and the interesting thing about the Conf 2022 that we did was that was our first time in person.
Okay. Okay. Well, you do this for a while, and then it kind of okay. Yeah, I remember that one. Okay, this is the one you're talking about then,
Yeah.
because this was this guy.
Splunk and no junk, and for the first time
Yep.
ever, we are in person together. In fact, the last time we were in person, we were talking about launching this podcast.
Yeah, I'd forgotten that.
I guess you're right.
Yeah.
I mean,
So that
I'm
was
excited. We've been doing
what,
SplunkTalk
June,
for a long time.
October,
And this is
June of
it's kind of a legacy for those that don't know.
2022.
This name,
Yeah.
this version with,
So
with you
3
and I,
years
this is what, like the
it took
third
us to
iteration
do
or
it in
whatever,
person.
But,
Yeah.
I'm gonna,
Yeah.
if you don't
SplunkTalk,
mind.
next generation.
Yeah. Maybe second generation, but
Third generation.
yeah. So
That
I-
was
I-
pretty.
I
That
do
was
wanna
pretty
call
sweet.
out Michael Wild
What?
and Mav, they were the original
You're
hosts
right.
What was
that
that?
made this. This
No, this was
That's
just sweet,
kinda
man. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it was awesome having it all in person like that. And
on the show
this was
floor,
in the middle of the show
Probably
floor, if I
at
recall.
home.
I liked all the people that would go behind us and just stop and watch.
Yeah.
No, I was wearing the bib, the apron,
Yeah.
because we had done the Builder Bar that year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited. We're doing it again.
Oh, well, that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, yeah. This was we had the F2 display. Oh yeah, there's a car right there, or F1,
Yeah.
F2. There's the F1 car right there. Yeah, that was pretty neat. I love all the studio work. We did that in person twice, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, and then last year was 2023, and last
Mhm.
year we got to do it again in
Correct.
the booth.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
thank you to Meg and team for hooking us up with that. Made us feel really special.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, we've done a lot of things. And these were just some of the the
These
things that
are a few of our favorite
things.
things.
Yeah,
Sorry, it's not Jethro Tull.
that's okay. Not much is.
Yeah. So Hal, something that maybe we may have done at the beginning, but if not, I'm sure everyone has forgotten. And I feel like this is the episode for us to do it. Tell us your origin story.
Oh, okay. Let me see here. I don't have anything prepared though, man. I mean,
Hey, it's just like our guests, right?
okay.
How did you get here? And I could do the same, or I could
Okay,
start if
all right.
you want me to start.
No. I can do this.
Okay.
All right. Well, I flunked out of college twice. Yep.
I may have
twice.
done. We may have done this before, and I may have made that sound both times.
You may have that's not infrequent for you. And I was always a computer guy. So
What do you mean flunked out twice? What?
I mean,
What would you like to share about that?
I attempted college twice. I had computer engineering at was then called Southern Tech, then Southern Polytechnic State University, now a part of Kennesaw State University in Georgia. And I attended it, and I got a
always living in
100.
Georgia?
Yeah, born and raised. I recall getting a 100 in my Intro to C class.
Oh.
And being annoyed with the professor for not, really moving faster. And, I was like, I would correct her now and then.
Challenged enough.
I was not challenged enough. It was one of those kinds of things.
And this was
and
your
I-
like intro class, so this shows your.
This was like the
age.
first
It
quarter
was
or whatever.
C, not C++,
was C.
not Java.
Not Java. And that would have been 93, 92 or 93. I don't remember if it was maybe fall of 92 or, spring of 93, something like that. Yeah, and I just wasn't there. I wasn't in it. I couldn't stay focused in it. I did that for a quarter or two, semester two, whatever it is they measured them in at the time. And met my future wife there. So that worked out well. I mean, it was a excellent experience for as far as that goes. Flunked out. I went to Kennesaw, which is, just not too far up the street from Southern Tech. And I was in their comp sci or MS IT class. I forget the programs, there was a CS program of some kind. And yeah, I thought I had what it would take to, make that work that time around. It did not. There was no change. So I didn't last long there. Went straight in the market, the job market, and did support, help desk, that kind of thing for a little while. Then into admin and
I feel like
architecture
a lot of people
and
say
bigger and bigger.
A lot of people say like you should always at some point in your life work in the service industry, like to learn about like working with people and like building your patience and how to like be positive in the light of stress. And I feel like working support is a similar kind of thing.
It
like
is that
our version of the service industry.
Yeah, totally. I agree. So I learned to serve people. That was the, have you tried rebooting it, type of job. That's
I thought
but
you were
it was
making
fine.
a Twilight Zone reference, the How to Serve Man.
No, I was not.
Cookbook.
I don't know that one.
Oh.
Well, I mean, I know Twilight Zone, but that's okay. Yeah. No spoilers. But no, I did that for, I was at HP, did that for several years. I went to an R&D software lab at HP. It was called ISSL, Internet Security Systems Lab or something like that. We made hardened versions of HPUX. We made intrusion detection and prevention systems for Windows and for Linux and Unix. That was pretty cool. I was doing lab level support there.
How did you stumble into that? Did you have a security background?
I got laid off. I got laid off from HP. I found another job at HP. That's how I stumbled into that one. But no, it was so once upon a time, the first internet banking in the United States that was developed by a company that was formed out of some Georgia Tech graduates. And I think it was S1 Technologies was the name during that time. And Security First Network Bank, SFNB, was the bank that formed at that time. That was the first internet bank, wholly internet bank. And I was incidentally, I was a customer of that bank, but I didn't know anything about this until years later.
Oh.
The company that formed that, they were acquired by HP. So that was the ISSL lab was the, that and what their main product was hardened versions of HPUX for banks and for, intelligence agencies of just whatever, just highly secured environments wherever that was necessary. And no, it was pretty interesting moving into that group and learning, the importance of cryptography and encryption and partitioning schemes and data protection, and there was a lot of good stuff there.
Wow, you smart.
So that was neat. My next role was I think I worked a little while longer for HP, moved into architecture and services and consulting, and then I went to IBM. Was there for a couple of years. ISS was the group there, Internet Security Systems. I think it's still called that today. That's where their security software is built out for IBM. Yeah, stuff like that. I don't recall if QRadar existed at that time. Might have, might not have, but yeah, I think it was.
Okay.
Also based in Atlanta. So, in fact, I'm certain it was because I was actually one of the first IBM Blue Badge employees of that group because they literally had just been acquired in that year.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah, and I remember they onboarded me, flew me up to Armonk, New York for the IBM onboarding stuff. And
that's not far from me.
Oh, really? Oh, that's a neat, it's very, it's not the city, which I like. I like, I'm not a city boy. But yeah, I did that for a year and a half or so. Speaking of getting laid off, and it's going to come up like 17 times in this episode, apparently. That was my worst experience, honestly. it was a security lab, right? And we have these 0 days. Okay. That means that, all hands on deck, stuff's blowing up and it's a security, something's in the wild, some hacker released something, whatever. And we had work from home days at IBM. And it was known that, hey, if there's a 0 day, you come into the office.
Yeah.
Well, I've been there a year and a half or so, and my boss was on vacation. My director called me and he said, "Hey, we got a 0 day. I need you to come into the office." Fired me. Called me into the office on my home day to fire me.
Oh, there was no 0 day?
There was no 0 day. And that was one of those like 10,000 or 15,000 people at the same time were let go. I was one of those people. So that was fun. A lot of fun. Lotus Notes sucks. Okay. By the way, I had learned that many years prior because I used to
grew
support
up
it.
on Lotus Notes.
I did also, and I hated it with a passion.
A lot of databases in there.
Yes. They had some interesting ideas, but their interface, their user experience was horrible.
Yeah.
Really bad. Anyway, and then I went to Home Depot, worked there for a couple years. I was in their tooling team. They're the team that connected everything together and monitored everything. So I learned a lot about big systems, and they have a lot of, there's like 50 PCs at the time. They had 50 PCs in every store. So that doesn't make sense if you think about it. I mean, you're like, I'm just here to buy a hammer, right? Why do they have computers? Yet, well, they have all these point of sale systems and they got backend servers. You got the Paint PC and these kiosks and all that stuff. So, among other things, we would create, systems to monitor the health of those. That was interesting. That was very interesting. You had to think about scale. And that's the same group that later went on to purchase Splunk, actually. So not when I was there, but I left there, joined Splunk in 2012
You went
as
from
a
Home
solution
Depot
architect.
to Splunk?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
And at some point between me leaving and just a small number of years later, they purchased Splunk. So it was that same team. So I knew those people that were working on that stuff. But anyway, and then I just built apps and then started working with people and customers and community and podcasting.
What kind of apps did you build?
Let's see, half of them were Cisco apps, actually.
Oh, are they still
That was
out
kind
there?
of funny. There's a couple, yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Splunk app for add-on for Cisco UCS. That was one of my first solo projects.
Wow.
So yeah, that was pretty. It actually got picked up. It got adopted by engineering, so it's officially supported now.
Yeah.
So not my code anymore, but
right.
yeah, I had a version of it that basically justified the reason for it being supported, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. And how many years now has it been for you?
Oh, 12 years. Yep.
Do you know what number tenure you are?
Not top of my head, but it's like 75 or something like that.
Number 75. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. Around that.
We'll just make it, just kind of around there somewhere. But I've talked a lot. I would like to hear your orange story.
Sure. So when I was in college for computer science and a minor in management and business administration. And I knew immediately that I was struggling to keep up on the math and engineering side.
Yeah.
So that's why I went into the College of Arts and Sciences to try to have
to go away from math at any cost. Yes.
Yeah. Not. I mean, I still had to do a significant amount of math. Like the computer science and the math degrees were almost identical.
Yeah.
But compared to like the engineering school, like computer engineering would be much more physics and so forth.
Yep.
I wanted to sort of take advantage of the more social, like business mind that I had.
Yeah.
So coming out of college, as I was graduating, and I knew that like I will never be a top programmer, but also I have like Liam Neeson in Taken, I have a certain set of skills that are different from other people. And so a friend of mine actually, his dad worked for MetLife, and they were kind enough to set up like some informational interviews because I was like, I think I want to go into IT because I think it's more rewarding for me in terms of like helping people and like achieving success, and like the feedback loops more immediate for me than writing code and waiting for it to be released and stuff. So I did this like informational set of interviews about a bunch of different functions and found out during those that there was this rotational program that they had just started and ended up applying into that. I got hired into that. And so in my first year and a half of my career, I got to be a business systems analyst, a database administrator, a quality assurance analyst, an infrastructure engineer, and a programmer.
Wow. Okay, that's actually kind of neat.
Yeah, it was very neat. And from there, I went into the infrastructure engineering, which is not surprising because networking was always my favorite topic. And so I joined the team in charge of WebSphere and IBM HTTP server. And I like quickly, you know, when I first started, I remember I got given like a Word doc that was like, here are the steps to install WebSphere. And I would like kind of copy and paste some of the instructions, then there'd be special characters, and eventually I put it into like a clean text file so I didn't have to deal with that. And eventually that clean text file, I figured out how to make some of them wheres and if statements and shell commands. And eventually I created a script. And so it had this like very organic motion of, you know, junior guy on the team just follow these instructions to, you know, hey, I made a script to do this all much faster. And I
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, I eventually took a lot of interest in creating more sophisticated scripting tools for us, as well as standards and stuff. And it was because of that position as being like the advocate for consistent standards and finding deviations in the standards that I discovered Splunk. Because Splunk became this interesting way where we could audit all of our configuration files and do comparisons and answer that question, why does this work in QA but not in prod? Oh, well, now we can see the needle in the haystack. What tiny setting?
Right.
And eventually MetLife opened up a large tech center in North Carolina and closed a lot of the tech offices in elsewhere to consolidate the jobs into that new investment. And I was fortunate enough to find a role as a full-time Splunk administrator with a joint venture startup between Verizon and Redbox called Redbox Instant by Verizon.
Cool.
So I did that. I was a full-time Splunk administrator. I had like, I think over my year and a half there, had like five Splunk environments that I ran. And eventually, when that joint venture ended, I found an opportunity to join.
Do you have a kiosk in the back of your house or anything?
A kiosk? Oh no,
yeah, a little red box.
Yeah, no. But yeah, so then I found an opportunity to join Splunk, and so that was in December 22nd, 2014.
Approximately.
My first 10 days of work
What
at
time of day?
I only had to work like 3 days because it was the holiday break.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But it was a lot of fun, and in my time at Splunk, you know, the first thing I found is I would work with customers and talk about like, oh, why don't you try doing things this way or that way? And those practices we started to realize were sort of best practices. And that's when I fell in love with that concept. And you can tell from my whole like passion for standards and so forth that eventually I was part of the start of this product best practices team, which I ended up
was that Devani you were working for her at the time?
Yeah, exactly. And
now you were a sales engineer for a few years before that. Is that where that path was?
Yeah, and I was really hesitant to ever be a sales engineer because I didn't like
because it has the word sales in it, you know?
Sales, yeah. And I was really fortunate because it turns out that like if you focus on customer success and long-term customer value, you don't have to worry about the sales. As long as your customer is happy,
The sales
they'll
will
renew.
happen.
Yeah, the product is great. You know, it'll expand. And that way, you know, you can feel honest because you're really just focused on making sure they're successful. And that's how I operated. And I was very fortunate that that took advantage of my social skills, my technical skills, my presentation skills, all those years of improv. And then in like 2019, this guy at a sales kickoff came up to me and he's like, I'm thinking of starting the SplunkTalk podcast again. Do you know anyone who could host it with me? And I thought he was joking because of my improv background and everything.
I didn't know about the improv background at the time.
You didn't, yeah.
I didn't. And also like I didn't know how to start. It was a little awkward for me. Not a lot. But it was a little like, okay, should I just ask him straight out? Should I what if
What you
I
should have
ask
done is
him
written on a note, do you like me? Yes, no, or maybe, and given it to a friend to give to me.
Okay, yeah. That is what I should have done. That would have definitely that way it would it would insulate me from any of that awkwardness.
Oh yeah.
But it was funny, like I don't remember at the time, but I think I was genuinely like I didn't want to make it about you or necessarily in case you were like no, I know a guy,
Yeah.
So you could say yes, I'm interested, or you could say no, I know a guy,
Yeah.
So I didn't ask you directly.
And I think I was like, oh well, he didn't ask me. So if he wanted me, he would have asked.
I think that was no, it wasn't. I was thinking about it differently. Yeah, it was.
And
not
I didn't take it
want you.
personally. I just was like, okay, well, who do I know? And then I sort of
work out.
was like, if you can't find anyone, I would love to do it. So I'm so happy to be your backup option.
Yeah,
because it has been a wonderful.
Hey, so you're the 7th
years.
person that I thought about. How would you like to be the 7th person I've considered after discarding 6 others? I mean,
yeah.
No, it is kind of funny though.
So yeah, I mean, we both like, and so it's been a really nice run for season 2. Season 3, we'd love to continue doing this. We don't know how it would work or anything, but when we get to that point, we can explore that. In our time here at Splunk, Hal and I have people won't know this, like we've had times where we've gotten to work together and like join in on meetings with each other, and it's always like
in
funny.
orbits,
orbits,
orbiting each other.
Yeah, and the nice thing about that is like our different roles have allowed us to bring different things to the table for the podcast. Whereas if we were more homogenous in terms of what we did, it might
then
not
it would be like, yeah, agreed. It worked out.
Yeah.
So I hope that we find some other interesting things to talk about, maybe much different things to talk about.
Yeah.
I don't think that I don't want to stop. Like I do enjoy podcasting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to, we'll figure out what works, and then we'll let everybody know.
I think it's clear that the next phase is going to be that every month we submit our library of videos into generative AI, which will output a podcast episode completely generated and not actually executed by us.
Okay. I have a lot to say about that topic. Maybe that should be what we talk about, is like how weird it is this time that we're in with AI, and how it can change things for the better, and what would it be like if it if that went that way, because like I think it's super interesting, the technology needed to do that, what you just said. It's interesting, but I would hate it, like the fake presentation. Now, using it to kind of augment or shortcut or inspire, there's a million things that it could do to increase our productivity.
Yeah, and that could be a fun thing, because a lot of knowledge workers are starting to recognize that it's important to learn how to harness these tools to amplify their productivity and not let.
And there's one actually that I found really interesting. I'm gonna just kind of hopefully give you a mental image of this video that a guy, so they're how-to videos, okay, and he's sharing his screen for the most part, right? So but he wants to have it personal, and the guy, he is talking using his real voice over it. Well, what he did, and you see people where they'll have their their camera in the corner or whatever, with their portrait headshot kind of thing. No, what he did is he used AI tools to create a pose of him standing. So it's a full size, it's small, maybe like an eighth of the screen or whatever off in the corner, but it's a stick figure. Okay, so imagine a stick figure, pretty articulated, so you can see hands and fingers or whatever, and the facial expressions a little bit, and it's his voice animating that. So in other words, you see someone kind of, imagine here I'm standing up and doing this, being expressive, but it's only a stick figure. So it's actually not his himself moving around. It's an AI generated stick figure superimposed, overlaid on the bottom right corner. Really kind of interesting. Yeah. And it's his voice. And it's his voice. It's a very distinctive voice that he has.
Yeah.
And you can see the facial expressions. It's a little bit small, so it's nothing.
So is it rendering?
It's just a stick figure.
What? But is it stuff that he said that the stick figure is like acting out? Okay. Interesting.
Yep. So it is an animated stick figure based on the things that he's saying. I'm really curious to know how that the workflow for that works and the tool chain used. And I understand just from seeing it, because I've been playing with the AI image and video creation for a while. I know how some of it was done, but not all of it.
Is the art behind you generated?
It is, yes.
By you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I create new ones most every week, and I'll change my Zoom background just to have something different.
Wow.
Prompt engineering, you could say. Yeah. I think we can find plenty of interesting things to talk about.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Well, I think we need to wrap it up for the moment,
Yeah,
for the time being.
For the moment. Until season 3.
We'll end of season 2, and we'll see what happens next.
We'll see what happens next.
Any last words?
Podcast that's
Mr.
all
Burch?
fun and no junk. I have been Burch, signing off.